Hi, my name is Tatiana Vilela. I'm a playful experience designer. I make games for several years now, and mainly game installations, meaning that they are playable at events like the Amaze Festival, and mainly meaning that spectators are looking at players while they are playing. So the game becomes kind of a performance or a show. And that's how I came to my topic, the playful performances. My main subject of study is perception. I first studied the perception in the sensory perception, and gradually came to the perception in a broader sense, from a more social point of view. It started in 2010 with a game called Lachi. Lachi is a 3D digital maze based on optical illusions. Well, the player is in a black and white building displayed by patterns, and the patterns are progressively destroyed, so it's more and more difficult to understand the architecture of the space. So this work deals mainly with visual perception of space. And the study of visual perception of space led me to study the perception of movement. So I made this game called Isochrone. It's a cooperative game for 2 players. Each player got 2 dots, and the dots are moving by themselves along passes. The only thing the player can do is to speed them up or down. So what really fascinated me in this game is that people got a lot of problem with coordinating their 2 hands. So I decided to study a bit the body motion and made this game called Oort. Oort is basically it's an avoider game. The player controls a pod racer with 2 pods, and he got LED bars, and when he moves his hands along the LED bar, the pod of the pod racer will move the same way. And as what was represented in the screen was analog, was the same as what the player was doing with his hands, he didn't got the coordination problem he got before, but he was really focused on the screen, which was a problem for me, because he was not focused anymore on his body. So, still the same year, in 2013, I made this game called Atsono, still about body motion. It's a cooperative game for 2 players. Each player got a button with LED inside it, strapped on the body. So he got a button on each arm, a button on each leg, and one on the stomachs. Their point is to press all the lead buttons simultaneously. So at the beginning it's really easy because there is only 2 buttons that are lit. But gradually it's harder and harder because there is more and more buttons that are lit, and players have to start to use their knee, their shoulder, their head to reach the button on the body of the other player. What was really interesting for me in this game was, of course, how the players perceived the body of the other player. But more than this, it was how the spectators were perceiving their body, and even how they perceived the whole game, how they perceived what was happening in front of them. And I realized that it changed a lot of stuff about the interaction. The interactions were not the same in this context of playing. Regarding, of course, the interaction between the spectators, but also between the spectators and the players, and finally, between the players. The first thing that was really obvious for me is that people were copying each other. As players used to be spectators before playing, they saw people playing before them, and I immediately played the same way, making the same move. A really good example that really happens all the time is the use of the head. Mostly people don't use the head to reach buttons until one person does it, and then everyone does it. Which led me to look a bit closer at sports, because sports are probably the most famous playful performances I know. And probably the most famous move that is copied in sport is the Fosbury. This is the Fosbury. Dick Fosbury is a pole vaulter, this guy jumping with a pole. Before him, everyone was jumping from the front. Everyone was jumping like this. And I don't know why, but he decided to jump from the back while rotating his body while jumping, which is a move that is much more efficient, actually. And after him, everyone started to do the same. This move is now called the Fosbury. We got also example like this in video game. The bunny jump in Quake, for example. I don't know which player decided one day to shoot at his feet while jumping to jump really high thanks to the impulsion. But now a lot of people does it. So this copying in movements are something that are really common in playful performances. The bunny jump and the Fosbury and the use of the head in Atsuno are moves that are really efficient. But some moves are more ambiguous. We don't really know if it's for efficiency or if it's for the quality of the performance, the aesthetic. This is an example of a move that is sometimes mainly more aesthetic than efficient. This is the scorpion kick. The scorpion kick in soccer is created by a really famous keeper called René Higuita. And it's a way to stop a ball by jumping in front and using the back of the feet to keep the ball from going in the goal, of course. And mainly in this situation, just using the hands would be much more efficient. But this is a move that is really impressive. This is a move that is really entertaining for the show. Which leads me to the general attitude of the players. Because this aesthetic move is mainly for the audience, is mainly for the show. And the final style that is kind of copied is the game style. I would say the general attitude of player. The general attitude of player is, of course, a lot influenced by the mood of the player and the mood of the audience. But there is some common points between the different general attitude of players in Atsuno. It would be hard to explain and really easy to show. So I will show you a really quick video of 4 moods that are for me really common from a game to another in Atsuno.
We're missing one. Yes. Okay.
Come on. Sorry for this. Anyway, up. Let's go like this and like this. Okay, as I said, the mood of the audience and the mood of the players can influence each other, but the spectators got a really more direct way to influence the game. I don't know if you've already seen some children at a puppet show, and when they say to the puppet, "There is a policeman behind you," and they point out the puppet. Well, people in Atsuno, the spectators, kind of do the same. It happens a lot. Players don't see a button that is lit because they are playing and they are totally focused on the game, and spectators almost naturally will go to the players and say, "There is a button here." That's exactly what happens here with the spectator pointing out the button. So this is a really direct way for the spectators to interact with the players. The other one is the social judgment. Of course, the social judgment is influencing the game, but not only regarding the mood of the player, also in a very direct way. Last year, I presented Atsuno at the Amaze Johannesburg, and I told to people that they could press the button the way they wanted. And some people started to sit on their knee to press the buttons on their legs. But spectators around them told them that it wasn't fair play and that it was not fun to watch. So they just stopped doing it. This is a really direct way for the social judgment to influence what the players are doing. And it's actually something really common in video game. Actions that are legal but bad, like camping in FPS, or spamming hadoukens in Street Fighter, even in sports, running out the clock at the end of a match, it's really not accepted by the players. So that's a really direct way for the spectators to influence what the players are doing. The final interaction we didn't talk about yet is the one between spectators. It's for me something really specific to performances, of course, because you need spectators for it. And well, it changes a lot of things when it's about playful performances. I don't know if you've already seen a child falling in front of his parents. And the children used to look at their parents just after falling. If the parents are laughing, he won't care about falling and hurting. But if his parents start to be sad or angry, he will immediately start to cry. This kind of really communicative emotions are the same between spectators in playful performances. When the crowd is laughing, cheering, or applauding, people that don't even know the game just come and start to applaud too, because they don't know really why, but they just do it. It's like yawning. It's just really communicative. The two ways that spectators interact, mainly, there is others, but this one are really common. The first one is the comments, actually. Like sport commentators, people that already played the game or that knows about Arsenal used to judge and comment the action. Oh, this is messy, this is classy, this is efficient, this is dumb. They are a bit like sports commentators, they improvise comments. The other way they interact is what I call knowledge transfer. Usually, this passes through questions like, what is the goal? What are the players doing? Why are they hugging each other with lead buttons? Is the game sold somewhere? They just ask questions regarding what they know about the game. And the question about the goal is really common. And it leads me to my next point, my final one. Okay, you can take any game and play it in front of people, and you could say it's a performance. But some games are really made for performances, are really fitting this context of playing. And there is I would say some game design rules. I don't have a big theory about it, but I will just talk about 2-3 aspects of the game design of playful performances that are for me really important to make a good playful performances. The first one for me is the simplicity of the goal. When I was like 4 or 5 years old, my dad, who liked soccer a lot, was watching a game as usual, and I asked him why this guy were running after the ball, and he just answered me to put it in the goal. And just with this one sentence, I was able to understand the game. Of course, not every aspect of it, but enough to know that if a team was on this side, it was bad for them, and on this side, it was good for them. It was enough for me to understand part of the game and then learn more by watching it. It's not important only for the spectators, but also for the players. In this context, people come and you just tell them, press the lead button, and they can play. And it's really important because they don't have the time to learn a lot of rules about the game. So you have to put your goal like in one sentence so they can play. And they can focus on their style and on their tactic, which is really important to make a good performance. The second point that is really important for me is the smoothness of the system. If the goal has to remain really simple, the way to reach it has to be not too constraining, because players has to be creative and imagine new ways, new moves, like the moves we talked about, like the bicycle kick. And to do this, they have to be in a smooth system that allows them to do a lot of stuff and to be creative. And to achieve this, there is something really simple to do, is to have a game with very few rules that are regulating it, but with a really complex system behind it, like physics. Physics is a really complex system, but we don't see it as something complicated. So in soccer or in Atsuno, it's the real physics, but it works also with simulating physics. A good example of an expressive and really performative move in a simulated physics is the surf in Counter-Strike. In Counter-Strike, surfing is made by exploiting a bug in the physical matter. It would be a bit hard to explain, so I will show you what surf looks like in Counter-Strike. It's for me something really performative and elegant. When you want honey? Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Good try. Lorenzo, help me. Thanks for waiting.
Which one is this?
Oh, it's just... Tell a joke? Yes. Does someone knows a joke?
Is it styles?
Yeah, no, it's the other one. Okay. Woo!
I'll just show a quick run here. So you head towards the bottom. I'm holding A right now, and I'm just going to launch off. And then I'm going to go underneath here. And this is one of the speed boosts. Now I hit the speed boost, I'm going to come off at a little bit shallower of an angle. And this is where I probably should have maybe spiraled around so I could actually hit that speed boost, because I flew right over it. So you might want to wait till here and then turn and curve. And the whole time I'm holding down the button that I was holding to surf. So I'm holding D right now.
So that was surfing, and yes, it is Counter-Strike. It was the last video, so we won't have any problem anymore. Okay. Up. No. Okay, perfect. Which leads me to my final point regarding the game design. It's the subjectivity. The moves we talked about, when we say it's elegant, ugly, beautiful, unfair, all this is a matter of subjectivity. I mean, a machine cannot say something is unfair. We say that something is unfair. And as playful performances are a lot about the special moves and how we perceive them, we need humans. I mean, playful performances needs humans to exist. Which lead me to my conclusion. Playful performances are games for humans. A machine could not say that a move is elegant, a move is beautiful. And you need a system that is not too constraining, because in a game like Pac-Man, what is unfair? What is an elegant move? In something like soccer, you can say something is unfair. You can say that something is elegant. My second point is that playful performances are really contextual game. Just one example, Atsuno is best played in clubs. Clubs are the best context for playing Atsuno. Why? Well, of course, because people are here to have fun, but also because people are here to dance. So they are not afraid of showing their body in motion. And so they are really in a good mood to play Atsuno. They are not afraid of showing their body. And of course, we talked about contexts like sports and esports, but this subject deserves to be more analyzed. And we could analyze contexts like theater or arcade. And I hope that you will do it. So I hope that interested you, and I that invited you to make playful performances. Thanks a lot.